Hey guys, now you're probably thinking, Kaya, what are you doing sweating, red-faced, in the back of your mum's car? Good question. And the way I'm going to answer that is the author that I'm interviewing today is a very good friend of mine, Dzintra Sullivan. Her and I have known each other for 4 or 5 years now, a very long time, and I absolutely adore this woman. And during isolation, she cannot get time away from her kids, so her car is her quiet place. And I thought, what a great idea! I'll get in the back of this car as well. And it is hot, but not as hot as Dzintra Sullivan. I absolutely love her books. I've read a couple of them already, and I love Dzintra as a person. Her and I are always butting up when it comes to conventions and signings, and we're friends outside of the industry as well. So her books are amazing, and she always has humor in them, which I absolutely love. She has numerous series out, and she's a very successful independently published author as well. She has her own podcast, which she's recently started. I absolutely adore it. I was on there only 2 weeks ago, and I love her and her co-host. So without further ado, I just want to dive straight into it, and hopefully so I don't pass out in this car. Just kidding. But let's go meet Dzintra. I absolutely love her, so let's go say hi. Thanks guys, bye! So, everyone's probably wondering how we ended up in a car. It's a good question. So Dzintra here, who was a good friend of mine, decided she was going to hop in the car because it's the only quiet place she gets during isolation with her children. So I thought, why not? Let's both be in the car and do an interview. And it's actually a lot more cozier than you'd think. I'm feeling pretty chill and happy. So thanks for hopping on, Dzintra.
It is my pleasure to be here, and it's not often that somebody as delightful as you gets me in the back seat of my car, so yay.
Stop it. This interview is going to go to a very different angle and video. If you keep that up, just stop. You're making me blush.
You know, when you invited me on here, there's never going to be a normal interview anyway. It never will be.
I knew that well. So obviously everyone, me and Dzintra know each other. We've known each other for a couple of years. I actually just hopped on her podcast about 2 weeks ago, which you should check out ASAP. What the book, it's fabulous. And again, that was a weird interview as well because we just can't be normal when we're around each other. And that's how we ended up in the back of a car talking, having an interview.
It seems just like a logical step for me. See, this is not something that I go, it's just like, oh yeah, this seems fine. I get it. Let's go. No problem. But I do specialize in the weird and unusual. So, you know, it's all good.
That's very true. Well, let's start. Speaking of the weird and unusual. So, question 1. You live on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. What's it like living there?
Hot. It's one of the most beautiful places on earth. I won't deny the fact that it's a gorgeous place to live. It's a quiet sort of area. Not as quiet as it was a long time ago, but it's hot. We have hot summers. 9 months out of the year it's beautiful. 3 months out of the year it's like hell if you don't like the heat.
Well, I'm actually staying, and you and I are only about 20 minutes away from each other because I'm staying with my mum in Australia. So that's what makes it hard, is we could be dangerous and meet up, but we're not allowed. That's not what the rules are saying at the moment, but it's hard knowing you're so close and yet so far.
We could be backseating in the same car if we decided to break ISO rules. But no, we're good girls.
It makes me sad when you put it that way.
Well, why don't we're good girls when it's recorded. Let's go with that.
So our cars are actually side by side right now. No, I'm kidding. Our morning coffee's around the house.
Absolutely. We're just passing out through the window.
What are we passing out?
The coffee, the morning coffee.
Oh, coffee. Gotcha. I mean, I'm unemployed right now, so I need to make money somehow. No, I'm kidding. Question 2.
Okay. And you thought I was going to take this dirty.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get myself into my interviews aren't usually like this. You bring out the worst in me, Dzintra. You're like the devil on people's shoulders. Question 2. Your first book that you ever published, Arcadia in the Halfway House series. What gave you the inspiration to write that, and how did you find the process of publishing your first book?
Daunting would be the word that I'd use straight off. I met the characters. Characters come to me. I don't create characters. They come to me. I've used this analogy a few times where I feel like I'm at a bar, and the character will come up and sit next to me and introduce themselves, and I've got a story to tell you. They tell me their story. I record their story. That's how my books are written. I feel very third party in it. It's a privileged place to sit, but it's very third party to me. So when Arcadia came up and meted me. I don't use English often.
You're
me.
A good writer.
It's a good one. When she met me, I was shocked because it had been the first time that this had happened, and I was unsure of whether I actually had the ability to write her story. She was very adamant that I did. I was not sure of this, but I thought, what the hell can I lose by trying? So I did. And the idea of self-publishing was daunting, to say the least. I have some very good friends in the writing community, which tended to cradle my nervous energy a little bit and directed me, which was nice. Luckily, and probably one of the only reasons why I pursued this as a career was when Arcadia hit #1 within 24 hours of going on sale.
Wow.
So that was a huge compliment to me, and I thought maybe I have something that people want to read. I don't know. Well, obviously I do, but at that time it was like, wow, you serious? It was odd.
Especially like your first book is so nerve-wracking because, one, you're already building the courage to put it out into the world, and it's a very personal and scary thing to do, but to also be recognized straight away, hitting #1 on your first debut novel is phenomenal. And you are a good storyteller as well. I've read your work. I love your work, but to have that on your first book must have really given you a good path to start on your confidence as a writer as well.
It was, but it also, it's like everything. There's a double edge to everything, because yes, it gave me an amazing surge of confidence that perhaps this was a calling that I could pursue. But it also, when you then saddle up, because Arcadia is the first in a series of 7 books. So of course I didn't want to take on just a simple book to start off with. I thought, no, let's do a whole series of 7, as you do. And so when I saddled up to write book #2, the pressure to have a second book meet the expectations of those readers was incredibly huge. It was phenomenal to deal with, and has done every book after it. Because when you start, when you start and you throw one out and it hits #1 and you think, oh, am I allowed to swear on this thing? I don't know. Anyway, you can edit me out if I swear. And it hits #1 and you think, my goodness. There, to me, that's already hit my peak. And then I have to try and match it and exceed it every time in my own head is a little difficult, but I've sort of got a bit used to it now.
Have you found it daunting in the process when you start new genres as well? Because it's a completely different expectation, but you have, for the time, you have the same readers, so you're hoping that they like it if you spare out into a different type of genre. So I think that's quite scary again.
I keep the same underlying base to every book that I write. Every book that I write will have a humour base to it, straight up. I can't be serious if my life depended on it. I don't think, I'd like to challenge myself to write a serious book, but generally everything has this sarcastic, humorous undertone to it. So even though I might write a murder book, a mystery book, a paranormal, a romance, whatever, everything will have a humorous tone to it no matter what. So I sort of, even though I break out of genres, I still keep my safety blanket, so to speak.
So what was your favourite book to write out of all the books you've written now, because you have quite a catalogue? What was your favourite and why?
I can't answer that question because you know what? As I said, that these characters are with me. They're not something I make up. They're characters that come and visit me. And if I went and named one as being my favourite over another one, the rest will come and haunt me. I swear to God, I will not sleep. So I don't think I could. I enjoy every one of the stories for what they are. At the moment, having just finished another Boner book with Car the Reaper, he's very prominent because he's an ongoing series, so he actually doesn't go away. He sits there and yabbers on. So he's I'm not going to call him my favourite or a favourite, but he is certainly a present entity at the moment.
What has been the most surprising thing to you in this? You've been in this industry for 6 years now. What is the most surprising thing that you found in it?
What's the most surprising thing I found in the writing industry?
The answer's not me.
Kai is the most delicious thing I found in the writing industry, but not surprising because you look at her, she's delicious. So
stop.
The most surprising thing I found in the writing industry or the writing community is the polar opposite of people that you meet. You can have some that will have your back no matter what, and others that will just wait for your back to be turned to stab it. So I think that was surprising to me. I you know, as a grown woman, and we don't talk ages, but you know, I'm not of a spring chicken anymore. So I tend to leave high school games where they belong in high school. So that was a surprising aspect to me, is that how much gameplay can be involved in the writing industry.
And I think, so this is probably something we're on dangerous land here, but this is something
that's
that...
why I was being afraid.
You're a dangerous girl. A lot of us don't really talk about this on public forums such as this, but it is... I can 100% agree with that. And so for the most part, like, the author community is fabulous. It really is. But of course, there's a lot of personalities in the whirlpool. And considering as well, this is a very... I know everyone sort of makes the author world seem like it sparkles. They write books, they're amazing and dazzling, but these are individuals who, most of them are going for dreams. They have very ambitious goals. They want to be in, you know, have movies or TV scripts or traditional publishers. So there are some people in that community who they do try to take advantage of other people, and that's unsettling. A lot of people don't talk about it, but you know, for the most part, like any industry that you're in, you just have to find the right people, as you said before, like, you know, find your group, and just make sure you support each other. And for those who aren't serving you, or for those who you don't like how they've gone about a certain way, then you don't need to have them in your network.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, honestly. And I want to emphasize that I'm not just talking, you know, the writing community or the writing industry as a whole is bad. It's not. It is fabulous. And I found my family within the writing community and the writing industry. But like any industry, you have to be careful of who you trust with your innermost ambitions or secrets. I guess that might be a way to do it. But that goes across the board, no matter where you are. You could be car salesman and still do the same thing. It doesn't matter. And I'm not trying to offend car salesmen either, but you know.
As we sit in a car, this is such a nice car. Sexy. Yeah, but it is true. And I think too, the longer that you're in it as well, I do want to talk a little bit about this because a lot of people don't talk about it. But I think the longer that you're in it as well. So when you first go into the author world, you're so excited about, you know, meeting people who are doing like-minded things. And then after, as I said, you and I have been here now for about 6 years. It's not a huge amount of time, but it's also... we've got our wits about you. We've been here for a while. People know who we are. And I found probably the last 2 years more than ever is when I've actually started realizing that some people have come towards me personally trying to get an angle or something from it. And I'm just glad that I am usually a good judge on character. And I know when people are trying to take advantage for whatever reason they might have. But it is something that people need to be wary of as well.
They've all been taken advantage of. The longer you're in the industry, the more you'll see that you know, we all make mistakes. We all place trust where it probably shouldn't have been placed, and that's not from making a consciously bad choice. It's naivety within the industry, any industry. And the longer you're in it, the more you're able to pick up your gut instinct, let's say that way. Yeah. And if you keep if you have a really good network of trusted writers, and that includes your editors and your cover designers and your formatters, everybody, if you have a really good circle that you trust and are secure with, doesn't matter, anything else should be great.
I'm super excited. I want to talk about your podcast. So you started a podcast a few months ago. It's called What the Book. I was super excited because it's so good. I was a guest only 2 weeks ago, I think, and I had such a good time. I was interviewed by yourself and with your co-host Caleb, who is amazing. I'm actually interviewing him next week, and I'm super excited about that. I wanted to know why you started a podcast to begin with, and how did you find the process of opening that platform?
I started a podcast because I have a need to give back to the writing community as a whole and not have to put on makeup and a bra every time I do. So, you know, you want to do the YouTube, that's great. You actually have to get dressed for that. I can do a podcast in my Jimmy Jam, or buck naked for that matter. None of you know. Was I wearing pants when I interviewed you? I don't know.
Probably not.
So that's why primarily I chose the podcast platform. Once I had chosen the platform that I wanted to work on, it was a matter of wanting to contribute back, to give back to the community as a whole. There are so many authors out there that are incredibly talented and have the most phenomenal stories, and yet struggle to find exposure past putting up a post on Facebook or Twitter or the Gram or Tumblr or whatever the hell you're working on. There's so many of them. To try and get past that, to be able to get listeners to hear you. And sometimes hearing spoken words relate better, and they'll take it in better and go, oh, I want to hear that author, or I want to read what that author was writing because they sounded interesting. So it's just trying to add another dimension that was available to authors to come on, because we do weekly interviews with yourself and others, and the rest of the time, well, part of the time we're just shooting the shit with Caleb, Kay Banning Callum and David Atherton Cooper. We're just shooting the shit, but we're also diving into subjects that are in the community that people don't want to talk about, like good reviews, how to handle good reviews and handle bad reviews. There are good and bad ways to handle both without coming across out of it like with the depression because you've read a bad one, or egotistical because you've got a good one. Things like taboo subjects. How do you write a taboo subject without offending half of the population? Things like that we cross in our podcast that we like to debate. And then the rest of the time we're just shooting the shit, having some fun.
And what I love too is so the episode that I was on, I listened to it all, and I've subscribed because I do really love what you do, because it's so interactive. It's just you guys basically sitting down and having a talk, and the subject that you were discussing was movies into film, and, you know, what was disappointing. And then you kind of started talking about whether you personally as authors, whether you would give your rights away for your characters and how much you were willing to do it for, like how much money. And what I absolutely love is that yous are all on different sides of the fence every time. And it is, as you said before, I like to debate. You guys do. You are so strongly passionate about completely different things. And so I found it really interesting listening to, because you have completely different views, and neither is wrong or right, but it's interesting on as what I agreed with, and what made me actually think about, oh, they're right about that. Like I never even thought of that angle. So it's just really nice to listen to.
Well, I think it would be boring if we all had the same opinion. It wouldn't go very far. Now, Caleb and I and David. Now, Caleb's, of course, from New Orleans. David is Australian, sort of. He's a Brit. He came here. I don't think he classes as Australian. Don't you have to be born here to be Aussie? Okay. He doesn't count as Australian. He's my Aussie Brit, a Brit Aussie, something like that. I'll have to give him a name all of his own. But we all have different views on things, and we also are at different stages of our writing career. David is in the process of finishing his first book, so he's right at the beginning of his writing career. Caleb's got a number of books out. I think it's around the 4 or 5 mark, might be a little higher. And I'm a little bit further advanced in my writing, as in number of books written. So we come at it from different angles. Also, we've got the male female orient, where we look at things differently from that point of view. But most above anything else, we have respect for each other's opinions. So whether Caleb was like, sell it all out, they can have it, just give me the cash, and I'm like, touching my characters, I want to have full control. Totally respect each other's opinions no matter what, which hopefully it crosses to be fun to listen to. And he likes to pay out on me. The boys do like to gang up a little bit on me, but that's all right. I can handle my own.
I know. I was like, excuse me, you can give it just as much. So I don't even think that they're ganging up on you, because I couldn't imagine that happening.
They like to think they are. Let's put it that way.
They're boys. Let them believe what they want to believe.
We know who's in real power.
You conducted your own anthology, The Paranormal Hotel, which was an interesting concept in its own, because you had different levels. So each author would write different levels and different rooms that the reader would enter into. I was wondering, how did you find that process, organizing a whole bunch of different authors, and also if there will be a second edition?
Oh, God. So I don't play well with others. Have you ever noticed that, Kaya? I don't play well with others. I loved the hotel. I love the concept of it. I love the fact that it was one hotel and each author had a different species and a different floor. Now, the authors that I wrote with are fantastic authors. The brain power it took to have to try and collaborate it all together is beyond me. The people who do regular anthologies are far superior to me in their abilities, because I'm flat out writing my own story. I would contribute to another anthology in a heartbeat. I don't know if I would organise another one myself. It was more than I could handle, definitely.
And was that mostly chasing up on other authors, making sure you're reaching deadlines, like the process of marketing afterwards, or just all of it?
Yeah, I'm flat out doing my own stories to try and collaborate and work it out, where you've got 6 other authors that you're trying to not let down or disappoint in any way, shape or form. It's a lot of pressure, because you're not only having the pressure for your own story, but suddenly you've got the pressure to represent all of these other authors accordingly, and they deserve it. They were fantastic. The stories were brilliant. I would love another hotel. I think the concept of the hotel anthology is fantastic, and I would totally do it again, just not me driving the bus.
What's been the highlight of your career so far?
Humping your leg.
Oh, stop. We didn't even make it past question 7 before this came up. I feel like now you have to explain a story to that. You can't just be like, humping your leg, full stop, then we move on to the next.
Yeah, we can. Listeners don't need that.
You're right, let's leave mystery.
The highlight of my career, I don't think it's yet happened. I think every book brings a new highlight to me. There's so many, every time your book hits anywhere in the top 10 is just mind-blowing. When you get letters from readers that go, one specifically that said, Dear Dzintra, I'm reading The Halfway House. I'm also, battling cancer, and I read it through my chemo treatments, and it gives me a way to distract myself away from reality. That sort of shit touches you so deeply as an author, that you can give somebody an escape. There's no number one that could possibly compare to the gift of being able to give somebody an escape from a reality that is that dark. That's a highlight. Any reader that makes the effort to come and contact you and say, God, I love that book. I love your boner, man. I had, at the last signing that I went to, which was SeaWorld Nara Resort BBTB with Cat T. Mason at the helm, fabulous. When I went to that one, and of course I just released my boner book, the first one, Once Upon a Death, with my Reaper. And I had my big 6-foot boner with me. I should have brought him with me. He should have been sitting next to me at the helm. And
I would have liked that.
I could have brought my boner in the back seat. Another interview. We'll do that another time.
That's going to be the headline of this. Boner in the back seat.
Well, when I took him to SeaWorld and we were gallivanting around the Gold Coast, and I got a tattoo for him on him. He got a tattoo as well. And I had people turn up to BBTB dressed as skeletons because they loved him that much. That's insane to me, because I sit there and think, now we've got cosplay involved. And I'm like, wow, that's cool that somebody would love a character to a degree that they would dress up as him and come and meet me and get my photo with him and them and whatever else. That's cool. And it was this year I was planning on doing all the ComCons and the Supernovas to promote more my boner books. And, of course, it's going to be all 2021, because I think 2020 is a dead year.
You are a Twitter pro. You have over 18,000 followers. And I know for me personally, I've been, Dzintra, teach me the ways, because I have a decent amount of followings on Twitter and I don't use it. And that's just because I prefer other platforms. But I hear that there is so much happening on Twitter in the author community all the time. So I'm hoping that you can explain to people like little old me what is happening on Twitter, and what would you encourage people who are just starting out on the platform to do?
There's so many platforms that a writer can to utilize. And I'm very pro finding the platform that works for you. There are platforms, there are authors that will swear by Facebook, nothing else but Facebook. It works for them, and it does. That's fine. There's ones that swear by the Instagram, and it works for them. And if it does, it does. As a new author, you should experiment with all of the platforms and find which one resonates with you, that brings about the biggest interaction. Because as an author, that's what you want. You want interaction. You want people talking to you. You want people looking at you, because if they're not looking at you, they're not going to read your books. They're not going to know who you are. So interaction is the key, no matter what platform you choose to be on, and be present. So Twitter especially, I think, more than the other. I mean, I have a reasonable following on on all of the platforms, whether it's Facebook or the Gram or the Twitter. Twitter is far superior to the rest of them for me, because I resonate with the writing community. And it is a phenomenally talented and loving place to be. They're just the most amazing people to be around. In order for Twitter to work, you have to be present. You have to be on there and interacting. If you're a newbie and you want to play with Twitter, get involved with the Twitter prompts, the VSS 365. Love it. VSS, very short story, 365 days of the year. There's a person who puts a word up every day, and you have to fit a very short story into 280 characters. Really, as a writer, it teaches you how to make the biggest impact with the smallest amount of words. So it teaches you to hone your craft really well and get you involved in the writing community to start off with. So there's lots and lots of different writing prompts that happen on Twitter, and that's a really good way to get your handle known and involved in it. And then the shenanigans start. I love Twitter shenanigans. I'm such a Twitter person. I love it.
You really are, because I did a post when we did the author tag, which is one of my other videos, and we all read a segment of our book, just having a bit of fun, and we all shared it about on our social medias. And you tagged me in on Twitter, and I think it was like within a minute, 3 people had already commented like, "This is great. I was like, damn, Dzintra, who are you on Twitter? You're like a queen. Like, everyone's looking at what you're doing. It's amazing."
And it's funny that people come up and go, oh, you're such an influencer on Twitter. And I think, influencing what? Bad behavior and fucktardery. That's what I influence. But I did, when I shared the video of my reading, because I actually took the part that I did out and put it down as a writing challenge. I threw the gauntlet down in the writing community in Twitter and said, read your words. Show me what you've got. As a self-promotion, lure your readers to you with your voice. And also to hear your own words spoken is such a phenomenally weird and yet fascinating thing to do. And I mean, you provoked me to do it. And hearing my words, and if you watch the video, my hands just like shaking.
They were, yeah, I saw that.
Calm down. So I threw the gauntlet down to the writing community to do the same thing. Now, I had over 5,000 views on that video alone, and over a few hundred authors that took up the challenge, and they're still taking up the challenge now, which is brilliant. And to hear them read their books, I swear I bought about 25 books of just listening to these authors read their own words. It's phenomenal. Everybody should do it.
What are the top 3 marketing tips you would offer budding authors? And do you have any secret formula that you think works for you?
Top 3 things for new authors?
Yeah,
like
or
advice?
you can do, or actually maybe authors that are a little bit further in their career, so a couple of years in, and they just want to make their brand and be known bigger and better, more readers for them.
Don't give up. We're talking reader advice on What the Book this weekend, actually. And it's interesting. I put up, some advice that I'd been given, both negative and positive, early on in my career. And I've had readers telling me their good and bad advice that they've received. And as an author, giving advice to people is so... You talk dangerous territory sometimes talking with other subjects. That's just as dangerous, because you could literally squash somebody's passion for what they do in just 7 words. And giving advice to an author should always be positive, no matter what. It should always be positive, even if they're shit. It should be positive. And I'm a firm believer that every writer has their readers. It doesn't matter. I've read some of the biggest trash, and yet it's had the biggest cult followings that is insane, because something in it is phenomenally brilliant and people love it. So every writer has their readers. They just need to find them. I don't like authors that go, if you can't write romance, then you can't write at all, or if you can't get mainstream published, then you have no right to be here. That's bullshit. If you want to write a book and you want to publish a book, go for it. Have a ball. You will find readers if you stick with it long enough. Nothing is overnight. This is a marathon. You and I both know we're 6 years into it. I'm nowhere near finished with this career. I'm not even partially near halfway with where I want to be. So it is a marathon. There is no quick fix. You are not putting that book out and waking up with $1 million endorsement check. Although if somebody wants to sponsor me, by all means, I'm open to any chit chat. Advice. Don't give up. Keep going. Find your readers by getting involved in your author community, no matter what platform you're on. They're on Facebook, they're on the gram, they're on Twitter, they're on LinkedIn. It doesn't matter where you are, there is an author community there. Get involved with them. That's where you'll find your readers, and you'll find your way in to where you want to be able to expand and grow. And also find a way to brand yourself. Standing out from other people is really important. And that's not trying to be different. I'm not sitting there going, okay, every time you go out, you have to be a persona. I'm not asking for that. What I'm saying is being authentic to yourself. You are your own brand. I'm a weird Aussie chick with the love of the F word. So, this is my brand, and I write weird, crazy stories that aren't structured. Well, they're structured, but you know what I mean? They're left of central. I am left of central and I'm proud of it. So that's my brand and I stay true to my words.
And I think, I didn't realize I had started branding until about 3 years into my career. So that's when I first started I did my first international signing tour in the States. And when I went there, I realized a lot of people were following me because first and foremost, when you write a book, and you're right, it's not a quick run, it's a marathon. We've been doing this for 6 years now, and I was only having a discussion with my dad a week ago. And I was like, I'm just tired. And the truth is it is tiring. When you treat it like a business and you start doing the marketing, it's exhausting. Like, we are spending 30 to 60 hours a week on not writing. Like, there's marketing, there's, connections, staying in the know of what's happening in our industry. And he said to me, he's like, sweetie, you knew this wouldn't be easy. And I was like, I know, but I thought I'd be further than where I am now. He's like, what do you mean? You're successful. He's like, you've already, like, it's just laying brick by brick by brick, but knowing that there's more and still going for it. And then the second thing is, you're right, is branding, because you don't realize you're doing it. But when I first started going to events, I was very quiet. I was very mousy. I didn't want to, not seem professional. I was 19 when I went into it, and I didn't want people thinking I wasn't professional. And the funny thing is when you know me, so now comparatively, what I am now. So when I started doing signings and traveling, I realized that people loved watching my videos. They enjoy doing my photos. I was like, hold up, it's not just my books that people are following. People are following me. And so when I realized that, you realize your personality is also something that draws people in. And I know I'm a very quirky person. And so if anyone's seen me at signings, you know that I'm usually the very energetic person running around and stealing candy from people's, tables when I have a chance. But that's what makes me me, and that's what people like, and that's a part of your brand. So I would say don't be conscious of your brand, be authentic to yourself. Don't try and mimic any other author. But when you get a couple of years into it, you'll start feeling a lot more comfortable and think, if my readers don't like me for how I am, then it is what it is. Just be yourself.
Absolutely. And when I'm on Twitter, my pinned tweet will always be regarding my books and directing people towards my pages and whatever else, because that's where people will go to see. But my general feed is me just being me, and my followers like that, so they follow me because I'm weird, and even though I sit there and go, you're all weird for following me, that makes you weirder. People will like you if they like what you're doing. I'm trying to phrase this without sounding like an egotistical dick. If they like what you're doing and they like what you're saying, they will naturally seek out what you have done. So, somebody reads one of my tweets, or they like one of my VSSs or whatever else, and they'll go look at my pinned tweet, hopefully then go to, forward through into the Amazon pages, into buying a book, etc., because I've tweaked their interest by just being me.
Are you getting hot? I'm like, damn, this car is hot.
It's a wee bit on the steamer, so, I thought it might have just been you.
No, it is. It is, though. I'm like, I can't handle this anymore.
And I do have Superman in the back seat with me.
I have my glasses. I even brought them just in case I wanted to be Slim Shady, And
if I get really excited, I have a buzz.
Girl, why do you have figurines in your back car? What are you going to pull out next? What you wearing?
I have children.
What do you think the hardest thing about being an author is?
I love being an author. I do. It's such a I don't like to use the word calling because it sounds all weird ass shit, but I love storytelling. I love being able to convey a story to somebody that is legible and that they find entertaining. I love being able to meet these characters that turn up out of the blue. There's one that's recently turned up, secret, want some insider trading. Her name is Kit, and she is a mare, as in a nightmare. She rides on the chests of children to give nightmares to them. But in the day job, she's a barber. So I'm yet to really work out what her story is, but she's a very cool character that's turned up. That to me is a feeling that I can't replicate in any other facet of my life. And probably the best part of writing to me.
So you don't think any of it's hard?
Marketing's hard. God,
But I love too, one thing I love about you, Dzintra, though, is like right there, I've asked you basically what the negative thing or the negative aspect about being an author is. And the answer that you gave immediately was what you love most about it and that you love this. And that's something I very much respect and admire in you, is you appreciate and you just always find the positive side of things. So I love that.
There's always negative with everything, though. Everything has its hard bits. It's marketing is shit. It's tedious. It's draining. It's emotionally draining. It can leave you feeling empty and demoralized because you can invest so much time in it and get so little result from it. But the joy of writing overrides that to me. And marketing, you find what works and you find what doesn't work, and if it doesn't work, you don't do it again. If it does work, try it again. That's pretty much, it's like a crapshoot game, really. And what works from one author might work for you but might not work for you. So that's where advice can get a little bit cloudy, because somebody will say, oh, go try this, it works, and I made $10,000 off it, blah 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 blah, and you go, oh, okay, great, and you go try it, and all you do is blow your money because it didn't work for you. There's no like strict roadmap to this. It's fun.
What novel are you working on at the moment?
I am working on the fourth one of my Dragon series, Apalala Clan. I'm working on Joe's story. He is Dragon Brother number 4. He is delightfully tattooed and with an attitude that I am loving playing with.
You've sold me. All I heard was dragon, man, tattoo. I was like, everything I want and more. Thank you.
He is fabulous. He is fabulous. My Apalala Clan boys are, all 5 of them are delicious. And this is book number 4. So I have sent the first 10K off to my beta readers, and they have come back with amazing feedback straight off the bat. So I'm confident that I'm on a good thing with this particular story. And then I'll be probably back to a boner book again. I've got 2 of them coming out hopefully this year.
What's your largest goal? What's the dream that you're chasing in your career?
See, but if I say one goal, when I reach it, I want something bigger and better. I don't ever want to get to a point where I sit back and go, this is it. This is the best I can be. I don't ever want to be that person or get to that point. I want to, no matter what goal I hit, I want to always be looking at more and more. And it's not from a greedy, egotistical point of view. I'm not going from that point of view. I'm going from a personal challenge.
Mine is, and I think when you're trying to explain that, my personal one is, how far can I go? How far can I push
Yes.
it?
Yes. That'll do. Love that. Let's go with Kaya's summary of my babble. Yeah, do that.
I was like, this is why we're friends, because as soon as you started explaining, I was like, that's me. That's what I'm doing.
I don't know how far I can go, and I don't want to place a limit on it.
So
but if Netflix want to make a phone call, I'm totally on board, people. Phone me.
To Netflix, same. Don't forget me. I'm in the backseat with Dzintra as well. Sort of. I have a couple of quirky questions at the end. So, one, right. What song best describes you as a person?
I did look at these questions, and I really thought at the time when I read them, I thought, well, I really should prepare answers for that. Did I? No, I did not. What a wonderful world. A very positive attitude. Does that... The first thing that popped into my head was Salt and Pepper, Push It. I'm not sure that really represents me. Maybe it does.
It does. I think it does.
Let's go.
Who's your favourite author to follow?
Who's my favourite author to follow?
Yeah.
Kaya Carrington-Russell.
Stop it. And likewise, of course. We'll just leave that as the answer. That's the answer. What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, okay. I grew up on a farm, and I grew up with parents that used to take me out to theatres and fancy restaurants and things like that when we went into the city or the big smoke from the farm. So I was brought up to try anything, and you had to at least try it once in order to know if you liked it or you didn't like it. So there's not much that I haven't tried that I've been exposed to, whether it be, you know, brains or frogs' legs or snails or any of the offal, or I've tried emu, croc, whatever. I've tried as much as that's been exposed to me. I've tried.
And did you like it all, or don't really?
No, not offal. Offal is not nice. Offal is not pleasant. There's not much of the offal factor or family that I enjoyed. I just feel a little gaggy coming on then. No, see, croc was great. I love croc. Although it's probably not politically correct to be eating them, but they were really good. I probably wouldn't eat lamb's brains again. That was they're spongy.
What ghost do you think you'll be?
Oh, one who comes with her own buzz, I'm sure. What kind of ghost will I be? I will be the most annoying ghost you will ever see. There is no Casper in my story. I will be, they will be trying to exercise my ass out of so many houses. It won't work. I just keep on picking another house.
Do you know, when I thought of this question, you're the only person I've asked this question to, and I thought about it only for you. I was like, man, she's going to be the most haunting mother ghost in the world. I'm like, she'll be the one that's like smashing stuff off, and you'll hear the little cackle in the back thinking, that ghost?
Absolutely. There will be no sleeping in the house that I am possessing.
What's the weirdest gift you've ever offered anyone?
That I've ever given anyone, or that I've ever received?
Both. It's both now.
Oh, it's both now. The weirdest gift that I've ever given somebody would be a box of nothing, which was a box of love. And it was empty, and they thought it was very weird, but I was very young at the time, and I was feeling very symbolic, and they didn't appreciate me and my symbolism. But that's all right. It was still given. I think I was just because I was a poor little girl. Didn't have anything else to give but my love. The weirdest gift I've ever been given was some lavender scented panty drawer liners. You know, like the paper that goes under your undie drawers?
Yeah.
And it's lavender scented. That was weird.
Was that by a family member or a friend?
By a family member.
I'm like, did I give you that?
You know what you're getting next Christmas.
I'm ready for lavender scented lay down for my underwear. So excited. I want my empty box. Give me the empty box.
I'll give you an empty box with my love.
Well, do you have anything? So what's up and coming for you? Do you have anything else you want to add, or what's happening in the world of Dzintra?
I think I've covered just about everything that I can cover. I just thank you for letting me come on and chat. I hope I haven't sounded like an idiot. If people want to find me, come find me on Twitter. That's where I am most of the time, or of course Facebook and the Gram. You can also find me on, just type my name in, I'm there. Or of course, What the Book Podcast, WTB Podcast. Come find me on there too. We're getting a new intro this week. I hired a professional voice actor and everything. It is so cool. I'm so excited to debut it on our 10th episode this weekend. So that'll be a lot of fun.
I'm excited for it.
I feel almost professional.
Now. Let's settle down. I know the heat's getting to us in the back of the car, but no.
Feeling a little sweaty.
It is a little bit, isn't it? But I want to say a massive thank you coming on. You are amazing and I love you to bits. And everyone should already be following Dzintra because she is one of the most amazing authors, but also she is an amazing lady as well. And check out her podcast because it actually is amazingly good. I'm trying here. I'm trying to sell it, okay? What am I meant to say? She is a phenomenal human being. Dzintra is a phenomenal human being. Check her out. Check out her podcast. And thanks for joining us in the back of our car today.